Welcome to Morning Moments. I am so glad that you came and joined us today. And as usual, I have another wonderful special guest, and Gigi Orsillo, and she has been. You've seen her on TV and you've seen her on movies, I'm sure. But I've asked her to be my special guest with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do and why do you do it?
Well, I am, first of all, a mom. I have three little girls, and we homeschool part-time, so I get to have lots of time at home with them. And I'm also an actress and pursuing faith-based and family films and projects that I can get behind and have a message that I believe is something that the world needs to hear. So,
How did you come about with this acting bug anyway?
well, my family has been in production since I was really little. And so I kind of grew up on set with my dad was a director and my mom was a makeup artist. And so it was just kind of the family business. And until, once I got older and I realized, this is something I really love to do. And I never planned on really pursuing it like, I'm going to go to Hollywood. But I ended up in Los Angeles and getting to, God just kind of works those little details out, even when it's not our plan. And then it just kind of unravels as his plan. I love to see how he works in that way. And so got to spend a few years out in Los Angeles. And then once I had once I had my first daughter, I just really felt God, say, this season is about motherhood. This season is about your family. And so I said, God, okay, well, it was your gift to me to be able to use the gifts that you've given me in the first place. So if this is where you're calling me, this is where I'm going to go. And I pray that you will someday bring this back into my life, the acting. And but if not, I know you have other plans for me, even beyond motherhood on the other side of that. And so about 3 years ago, I had got a phone call from a friend who I had just been encouraging him about a movie. And it's funny how when God does that, a lot of times, I mean, even now, as I reach out to people to encourage them, what God brings back into your life from that, which is fun. So I had just encouraged him about a film that he was doing, and he said, "Come audition." And I said, "Oh, I'm not. I'm not acting anymore." And he said, "Oh, if God has placed a gift inside of you, He didn't take it away.
Yeah.
I've seen you. I've seen the gift working inside of you." I said, "Okay, so let me pray about it." So that was kind of the introduction back into the faith-based film world, and I just felt a release that this is okay. This is the timing is right, and God kind of released me to step back into it, and He's brought a lot of great projects into my life, and projects that I just, he kind of weaves together the opportunity, and then as you get further and further down the road, you're like, oh, this is why I'm here, and maybe it has to do with the film, and maybe it has to do with a crew member that I meet on set, that it's like, oh, okay. And it's fun to see that kind of unravel when I'm on set, and God places somebody in my life and I go, wow, God, okay, so that's why I'm here. I love seeing that unravel.
Yeah, God can orchestrate things just within a few seconds that it would take us pushing for years to do.
Right.
And it's just amazing. I tell people I'm not smart enough to figure this all out. God just has done things for me. And
Yeah.
it's so great to see how like God connects those dots. And when you step back and you're so wonderful to me, God, to be able to make so many wonderful things happen. And
Yeah.
your gifts, amazing what you said. Your gifts make a way for themselves, and so does your God's dreams for you. And if you give it to Him, the timing always works out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So your projects you've been working on, I was talking to you earlier about Sleeper Agent. What a great movie! If
Yeah.
you folks
Oh,
haven't seen
thanks.
that, that's fun to
Thank
watch. A fun movie, and it's also got a great message. It's fun to hear. It's nice to have a comedy too,
It
where
really is. And I've been blessed to work on a few comedies. I have one coming out hopefully in the spring in theaters. And there's just something great. I have a friend who says if you can make them laugh, you can open their hearts to hear a message, you know. Laughter is like the open door to, you know, if somebody's sitting there, it opens their heart to when you know, can kind of sucker punch them with the real meat of what you're trying to say. So I love comedy. Like it's just so fun to work with. It's fun to work with funny people, you know. So yeah.
and you know I've discovered through the years, we were my wife and I were on children's ministry when we first was married, and when you can get children to laugh as well, it doesn't matter if it's
Oh
children or adults, they laugh, that draws them
yes,
in, and then you can tell them there's a hope and a plan for your life,
yeah,
and they receive that. But the introduction was laughter, and that's great to be
yeah,
able to break those barriers down with things like humor.
yeah, definitely.
So there's been a lot of things happening in these changing times. Is there anything that God's been speaking to your heart, lessons you've learned lately, not only just trusting in Him, but other things that you could share with us?
I think I think what God is speaking to me right now is just there feels like there's such a heaviness in our world as we like go about our days, as we come across people everywhere we meet, at the grocery store, at the gas station, in the school pickup line. It just seems that there's this weight on people. And I feel like God has given me especially a gift of joy, that I am a joy bringer. And I remember being on a missions trip when I was I think I was in like junior high or something. And you know when you go on a missions trip and you're like, and get you saved, and I'm gonna get you saved. And it's like you have this kind of like revitalization of purpose that you know, that God can use you. And I remember I was sitting there one day, I was getting my hair braided on the beach, and it's like the day off, you know. And as I was sitting there, this woman who was braiding my hair, it was like I just started witnessing to her. And I remember coming away from that experience and going, you know what? You don't have to be in a church. You don't have to be, you know, at an evangelist place, you know, an evangelistic outreach to make every day an intentional day for God to use you. Like God can use me sitting here getting my hair braided. And that's kind of how I feel right now, just this urging that when we listen to the Holy Spirit every day and say, God, use me today. And what is it? Is it a conversation with another mom in the pickup lane? Is it, you know, reaching out to one of my friends' kids? And I have no idea what's going on in their life, but you do, God. And so speak to me and let me hear your voice and let me move to the people that you need me to be your hands and feet to. And I think that's just kind of what I've been really prompted in the spirit just in this kind of season is God needs me to be his hands and feet. He needs me to be his joy to people on in every daily basis. And I think that that's true in my home life and on set. Like, God, where are you going to use me today? Who do I get to be your joy and your, you know, speak your peace and speak your hope into their life? So I think just that God wants to use us. And if we listen to him and we listen clearly and ask him to speak to us, that we will hear that small voice and be prompted in our spirits to act, you know?
You know, that sense of heaviness that you spoke of, there's so many people that they have so much heaviness, but nobody's listening. Nobody's giving them hope.
Yeah.
Just just a glimmer of hope people
Yeah.
open up,
Yeah.
and and because they're not receiving that from media, from the news, from society. And if
Right.
one person can show a sense of hope, uh,
Yeah.
it's amazing how people just open up and just ask you questions. And
Yeah.
just that, the testimony of joy is
Mhm.
can be such a spark to get conversation going.
Yeah. And joy in the midst of all of it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying my life is perfect or my life is happy all the time, but that true joy that only God gives to us, that can be there in the midst of tragedies happening and natural disasters and all of these things that are part of our world right now, and family drama and all of the things, disappointments because you didn't get a project that you really wanted. It's all those little things, but our joy comes from the Father, and from true relationship with Him. So we are hope bringers, we are joy bringers, and um, I just pray that God uses me in that way every day.
I'm so very glad we got connected. It's been a long time coming. I've had
Yeah.
so many of the guests I've had on before say, "You got to interview Gigi. You've got to interview
Oh.
Gigi." And so I'm so glad that our schedules finally matched together and got
Yeah.
together. I'm going to, down below in the comment section, I'm going to put information about movies she's in, movies she's going to be in, so that you could keep track of her career and you follow her.
Thank you.
And also, more important than that, and I want you, when you think of Gigi, I want you to be praying for her, that God would continue to put her in the right place at the right time to reach people, and that she continues to be the light, not only to the film industry, but the light for her girls and her family and her husband and her children, and that God
Thank you.
blesses those girls and continues to raise them up and with the godly parents that she has, and God continues to bless her. Thank you so much for taking the time, Gigi, and being with us
Oh,
this
thank
morning.
you for having me, Andy.
All
This
right.
has been so fun.
Great. And thank you for joining us for Morning Moments, and keep coming back.